As the century closed, World Superbikes had its own Millennium Man in Britain's Carl Fogarty. Having won 4 world titles in the last decade, he dominated the sport. And as the new century of racing began, the man they knew as Foggy had never been clear of his intentions of doing it all again. His story and the plight of his hungry rivals will unfold with all its colour and noise on SBK Superbike 2000. Like a rebellious teenager, the world of superbikes bounced into existence just over a decade ago, shaking up the world of two-wheel sport with its own flair, passion, and more importantly, some of the closest racing in the business. Since it started, it's grown tenfold and has changed the face of the sport forever. The driving force behind this success are the riders, who come from all over the world and each week put their lives on the line in search of glory. They all aspire to be the king of superbikes, and while many have worn the crown, Carl Fogarty has continued to reign supreme as its dominant force. His fans adore him, and at the end of '99, though more philosophical, he was just as determined as ever.
You know, I'm here to be beaten, and once someone beats me, then I'll walk away and say thanks. You know, I had a great time. That's me finished. But you know, you spend years climbing this ladder, and I've been on top of this ladder now, I guess, for the last 4 or 5 years, you know. And they're all there trying to knock me off it, and one day someone's going to knock me off it for sure. There's no doubt about it. And when that happens, maybe it is next year, then I'll just say, okay, I think, you know, I was at the top for a while, and now it's not my turn. You know, it doesn't get any easier. It gets harder and harder every year because I'm getting older, and you know, I've got you know, problems with my neck, my lower back, my knee gives me trouble. So I feel all the old injuries coming back to really, you know, make me uncomfortable now, but I'm still hanging in there, so hopefully I can just do it one more year.
No rest for the wicked, as 2 months after the '99 season, they were all back at it again. The tranquil setting of Phillip Island in Australia, bracing itself for the onslaught of Superbike 2000. With new designs, new engines and gizmos, but the usual suspects all back in action, and all wanting to know one thing. The Honda 2000 had thrown away the RC45 and given birth to twins, the VTR 1000 SB1. But how good was it? Well, as the teams took to the track for the first time, the answer seemed to be pretty awesome. So let's take a look now at who's who, who's got what, and who's hot in the 2000 season. Ducati may have dominated the sport over the last decade, but they were not the sort of team to sit on their laurels, especially now that Honda had come to compete on a level playing field with a twin of their own. The 2000 996 liquid-cooled 90-degree V-twin was as pretty as former stablemates. While most of the winter was focused on experimenting with dual swing arms, the Ducati remained essentially the same. So much would once again rest on the #1, Carl Fogarty. It had been a hard winter for Foggy, both personally and on the bike, suffering his first Superbike concussion. But the desire to win was still burning bright in the king of Superbikes.
As long as I'm racing, there's just one thing on my mind, that's winning. That's the only thing I race for. I don't enjoy it. I just want to win races. That's all I'm doing it for. So if you win races, that wins championships, and that makes it 5. So that's fine. If I don't win, and I think it's down to me, down to motivation, down to me, you know, thinking about other things, then that's it. I'll stop. There's no question of that.
Luckily for his fans, that time had yet to come, and Fogarty powered on. And in 2000, he was joined by young American sensation Ben Bostrom. Hero of a one-off ride at Laguna Seca in '99, Bostrom would probably get the toughest job of all. Not only as Fogarty's teammate, but also riding a new bike on tracks he'd never seen. It would take some getting used to, but Bostrom was confident and broad-shouldered. And with the careful guidance of Foggy's mentor, David Tardozzi, and Fogarty himself, we could be looking at a future world champion.
It's a win-win situation, I'd say. I'm fortunate to have him on the team. because I get to watch him and learn from him, because I don't know how much longer Carl's going to ride. And I'm the new guy coming up, so they expect Carl to win. They don't expect me to win. But Ben Bosterman expects him to win, you know. I want to win, and as did anybody else would, but it's going to be tough, for sure.
For Honda, the new millennium really was a new era. The RC45 had run its course, and in 2000 they'd go head-to-head with Ducati on their own twin. The 90-degree V-twin with fuel injection and a 302-kilometre top speed would be a match for any of the bikes, including the Ducati. Honda had never spent as much time behind the scenes developing a bike, and unlike the advent of the RC45, this time they wanted to hit the ground running and be the best out there. Winter testing had shown the fruits of their labour, and they'd been pretty much the fastest bike all winter. Colin Edwards believed that he could win straight out of the box, and having tasted victory a lot last year, the Texan had the championship firmly in his sights.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's half the machine I guess I was on last year, V-twin, but 250 more cc's, which is always a help. You know, we've been anti-1000s for so many years, and now that we got one, it's yeah, it's eye-opening. It doesn't do anything wrong. I mean, you got to look at Carl. I guess Carl's going to always be the favorite if he's in the series. You know, he's won the championship a few times, but yeah, we're here to push him into retirement anyway.
Sadly, his teammate, the gritty Kiwi Aaron Slight, was facing forced retirement of his own. A stalwart of the championship with 209 races and 13 victories, he'd come so close but never won the title. The luckless Kiwi had now had to undergo a serious operation to relieve fluid on the brain, but the determined Kiwi refused to hang it all up just yet.
I don't think there's anyone as fit as me out there, and that's why retire, and I might as well give it another shot. And yeah, there's just every opportunity out there, and if I get to the end of the year and think, well, you know, it's really still is that hard, well, maybe I'll think about it. But at the moment, with the rapid recovery and that you've got to have some goals, and that's what I want to do.
Slight would miss the start of the season through rehabilitation, and it would only be a matter of time to find out whether he would be able to race again. Riding his bike in the interim would be fellow Kiwi, the mild-mannered Simon Crafar, who'd been out of work since the Grand Prix ride went down the pan. He stayed focused and fit, and that's what won him one of the most desirable rides around. Suzuki had kick-started their reinvention of their World Superbike campaign as the Al-Stari team at the beginning of '99, led by the evergreen Frankie Keeley. And despite their doubters, the team had had an excellent year with 2 wins. The inline 4 had sorted out its early injection problems and was very much a championship contender for 2000. 35-year-old Pier Francesco Keeley had done it all in Grand Prix and Superbike and remains one of the most popular racers around with fans and riders alike. Despite being a veteran, he's still as fast as ever and proved that in both the wet and the dry in '99. And if ever a guy deserved a championship for what he's brought to it, then it's Frankie. But maybe it would be his year in 2000.
For me, I need to go fast, a little bit more than half second each lap. And if I get also some new tire after, we are very competitive, and we can play for win the race. And I don't know about the championship, but if you're starting to win a race, is a good point for improve the championship.
Keeley was backed once again by Japan's Katsuaki Fujiwara. But the question was, for how long? Poor performances in '99 meant that the Karate Kid could be facing the chop himself if he didn't perform better in 2000. Waiting in the wings was Britain's Chris Walker, who'd already shown what he could do as a wildcard entry. It seems like eons since the mean green Kawasaki won the championship in '93. But they continue to be at least a contender, led by Japan's Akira Yanagawa and Gregorio Lavia. The inline 4 may have been around for a while, but it was still one of the fastest bikes around. Akira always seems to qualify well and finished on a high in '99 on home soil in Japan. Akira has always focused on being extremely loyal to the team. Now it was time for Howard Eckel and the boys to give him something to win on every week. His teammate in 2000 was Spain's Gregorio Lavia, who after a phenomenal year as a privateer Ducati rider had an indifferent factory debut, with 2 fourths and a lot of falls in 99. But then again, all involved know that the ZX7RR is hard to get to know.
After the last season, me and the team spoke together about the problems we had during the season, and then we tried to improve that problems, no? And also I have more experience now with the bike. I know what I can do, what I can get from the bike, and all the tests are going really good at the moment.
That was until he fell in Valencia and broke his hand, and no one knew whether he would show up at Kyalami or not. As for Akira, we couldn't catch him, but we know a man who can.
I'm standing here with Akira Yanagawa. Akira, how's the new Kawasaki this year?
Not so bad. We changed suspension. Very good. Working very good.
Good. So what about engine? Any changes in the engine, or just a little bit better than last year, or?
Yeah, a little bit. No, not a little bit, but better than last year. And also, but not big change. Overall same.
But you changed suspension this year, yeah? You changed from Öhlins to
White power.
To white power. Okay.
Yes.
Better?
I think I feel better.
Okay. Well, good. So how about the Honda?
Good, fun.
Yamaha were in for a very exciting year, led once again by one of the brightest talents in two-wheel racing, Japan's Noriyuki Haga. The new YZF 750 only came online in '99 and needed some harnessing in its early days. But in 2000, with a full year of development behind it, and now shod by Dunlop, Haga had never felt more confident. He'd even shed a few pounds himself for the 2000 campaign, and a lean, mean Dunlop rear-wheel steering Haga would be an absolute joy for any race fan. Haga really is the genuine article, and nothing less than a top 3 finish every week will be enough for his aspirations. Aprilia used their debut year in '99 as a development year, with the best development man in the business, Peter Goddard. They struggled with all sorts of problems, not least power. But they steadily improved and now added a proven frontrunner in world champion Troy Corser to lead their charge. Despite second equal in the championship in '99 and still the king of Superpole, Ducati dropped him like a stone.
I thought everything was going swell and I was going to continue with Ducati basically until I retired. You know, I felt that I was strong enough in that position to stay there, and when it didn't, it sort of shocked me a little bit. But you know, they make changes for different reasons, so it was out of my control.
Troy was perhaps undeserving of his treatment at Ducati, and like Keeley before him, he was hungrier than ever before.
If we can get the bike to a podium finisher by the end of this season, by next season, I hope that we can be up there going for podiums every race weekend and maybe have a chance to win the championship. So, like I said to them, it's not going to happen overnight, but it will happen.
Troy would be teamed up by development rider Alessandro Antonello, who knows the bike inside and out, is fast and had a taste of the championship at home in Monza in '99. Aprilia do nothing in halves, as their Grand Prix campaign has showed. They'd be definitely one to watch.
Yeah, that's right. I want to try and treat this as a bit of a door-opening opportunity for me, and I think it's going to be as well because I've already been speaking to Ducati a little bit about next year, and they've shown a lot of interest. So hopefully, we can crack a deal, and hopefully, I'll be back for World Superbike 2000 on a Ducati.
Those were the hopes of former World Superbike Ducati rider Anthony Gobert in '99. Well, the Go Show was back for 2000, and not with a Ducati yet. Promoter made their entrance into World Superbikes with the biggest showman of all. Fresh from a superb year in the States on Ducati, the bad boy of big bikes was back. and partnered by fellow Ducati renegade Virginio Ferrari. The Ferrari-Gobert combination promised to be one of the most potent in the paddock. Perhaps it was a backdoor for both of them into Ducati. Talking of which, another one to watch was the Ducati of former 500cc star Juan Borja of Spain. His testing times were very good indeed, and he could really shake up the rest of the field in front of his home fans at Valencia. Valencia was one of 2 new venues for 2000. Spain in June, Germany's Oschersleben in September, and finishing off the season at the ever-popular Brands Hatch.